welcome back to our channel. It's
Dre
Bre, and you're watching Worth the Wait. This is, sorry, I just straightened my hair, so I'm feeling myself. But this is episode 4 of our series, and today we're talking about communication. Thanks, Dre. So the first thing that we're gonna talk about, let me go back to my doc, is why communicating is important. You can start.
You asking me?
Yeah, he's the man of communicating.
Communicating is vital to relationships in general. Not just intimate relationships, relationships with your parents, relationships with your friends, relationships at work, relationships with anybody. How can you have a successful and thriving relationship without healthy communication? You can't. So that's why communicating is important. A lot of us, we're all different people.
Very.
We all think different ways. We can all come into see one thing or come into one situation and view it and react in 100 different ways. We also cannot read minds, to some people's surprise. So communicating is very important. Is that good?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. You're just cute. Okay, so
Why do you think communicating is important?
I'm getting there. That's
Okay.
where I was at. So for me, and I feel like with a lot of women, we get very emotional. So being in a relationship where communicating is key, talking about this guy right here, it has allowed me to see like a huge difference in relationships. Like if I would have communicated, or if the other person in the relationship would have communicated more, the problems that happened probably wouldn't have happened. And I think that when we communicate, like really communicate, not yelling, not screaming, not blaming, but healthy communication, with that comes a sense of peace and a sense of respect for the other person. And then it just, instead of being like the victim or feeling like an argument needs to be had, it's just a simple conversation. And then it's just like, I love you, babe. I love you too. And you just keep going on in life. So yeah, just for women, it keeps us sane, very sane. So now that we know why it's important, the next thing we're gonna talk about is what happens when you don't communicate.
It's really bad. So,
can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I really don't like communicating sometimes. Like, I don't like to talk about my problems. I just wait and think that like, oh, it'll just blow over and it'll just fix itself and I have to talk about it. Whereas Dre here, he's like, yo, calling meetings, like we need to talk. So for me, when I don't communicate whatever it is that's going on, you can definitely feel the vibe. Like attitude, like it's nobody's business. Then it creates it's like I have attitude for no reason, then he'll have an attitude, and then it's like this thing, and then we have a thing where it's like when I'm up here, he'll be down here, and then when he gets up here, I'll be down here, like leave me alone, and he'll be like so excited and ready to talk and whatever. So it's kind of like this back and forth, and you don't know what's going on. And then I always try to blame it on like my period that I don't really get because I'm on a certain type of birth control.
You know it's on the record, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that.
Just saying.
It could be my period that I don't have though. I can still have the emotions. I still have cramps sometimes.
Continue.
Don't be trying to get me. So I'll blame it on different things, and I think that Dre can always tell when I'm like being honest. Like if he asks me what's wrong, I'm like, nothing is wrong, I'm just blah blah blah. It's like he knows that something is wrong. He's usually always the person that initiates the communicating. So reasons why you communicate and what happens when you don't is just simple reason of he'll have to deal with some stuff that he shouldn't have to deal with from me. Some attitude that is just not necessary at all. And it'll put him in a bad mood for no reason. And it's just unneeded. It's just unhealthy. Bad vibes. Okay.
So, I was talking to one of my boys today, and he told me about somehow, you know, one of his family members got divorced. And basically what he said was the guy was watching TV, and the TV was too loud. She came in and told him to turn the TV down. And basically, made a long story short, it ended up with the police being called, and she's saying that he hit him, and this happened, and that happened. So I say that to say, you're like, what does that have to do with communication?
No.
When you don't communicate, petty stuff starts to become a big deal because you don't express how you feel about a certain situation. So every little thing that person does becomes a big thing. It's like you're mad about something, but then you hold it in and you're not communicating it. And you just, but everything they do, it's like, oh, I don't know, was clipping your toenails and I stepped on one and now you want to like yell at the person at the top of your lungs, or what's something I've done been mad?
But at me?
I don't know. Like, it's just petty stuff that you start to get angry at. So when you don't communicate, you just have all this bundled up, just like...
I have an announcement when you're ready.
Just like stuff and anger that the smallest things just become like huge things, because honestly, all you're looking for a lot of times is a point to express how you really feel about the thing you're mad about. It's like she could do something like, I don't know, like accidentally step on my shoe. It'd be like, yo, why you step on my shoe, man? Like, leave. That's why all them dishes in the sink. It's like, what? It's like, huh? What? Where did that even come from? It's like, what did that even come from? Like, how did that even happen? It's because you didn't communicate how you felt when you felt about something, when you felt some way about something. So when you don't communicate, just you keep stuff bottled up, and it just, people can probably see in their relationship, you get mad at the stupidest stuff, the smallest things, but you're just already mad at something, so every little thing just ticks you off.
And I wanted to make an announcement because one thing that I didn't even realize until just now when he just said all this is in the last video that you guys watched, not the vlog, the video before that, we talked about Dre leaving his underwear on the floor in the bathroom and keeping the curtains open and leaving all of his stuff out. And that was my first time really communicating this, like, to you guys and him at the same time on the video. And literally, like, since then, he has picked up his underwear, he has closed the curtain, he puts all of his stuff away, and I was just like, all I had to do was say something? So it's like...
It's crazy how that works, right?
It just solves a lot of unnecessary problems. Like, if I didn't say that in that video, he would still have underwear on the floor right now, and it would be an ongoing thing at some point to where I just was tired of dealing with it, and then we would have had a petty argument when at the end of the day all you had to do is communicate. So that just goes to show, example right there, communicating is key.
It does work.
It is key. All right, so knowing the other person and how they react to problems or conflict.
This is tackle this or
huge. I'll start. So you have to understand the difference between you and your partner. So Dre and I are completely different when it comes to communicating.
Yeah.
Communicating makes my skin crawl. Like serious talk of like our problems, like it just makes me be like, bruh, like I don't want to talk about this. But it is so needed, and I'm so thankful that he is the opposite so that we can make it make sense. But him knowing me, so like if I get upset, I do not want to talk, because when I'm mad, I'm emotional and I say things I don't mean, and I have a nasty little mouth. So I know that if I'm angry or that if I'm really feeling some type of way, I just probably should not talk to you right now, and I will roll over and go to sleep and be like, let's talk about this tomorrow.
And then she'll forget, by the way.
Yeah, I
won't even know what she was mad about.
Yeah, but he knows to like let me be, because he knows my personality and how I am with conflict. The first thing I do when I'm confronted with something is I play that whole victim role. And I try to figure out a way to like flip the story or be like, but, and sometimes I have to realize like, okay, I am the problem, or what I'm doing is not okay. But in order for me to really realize that, I have to be in like the right state of mind. I can't be in this like, oh, I'm being attacked, you know, mindset. It's like, let me take some time, chill, think about it, and then I'll come to my senses. Then we can have a real conversation. So knowing that other person is important, whereas for me, when something is on Dre's mind, he wants to talk about it right away. So even if I'm tired, even if I'm in the middle of doing something, I know I have to turn off my computer, put down my phone, give him some eye contact. Otherwise, he will feel like I'm being disrespectful and I don't care about his feelings and I'm not listening to him. Even though I know I don't want to talk about whatever it is he's talking about. At that moment, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I just want to finish, let's go to sleep. I will put that aside because I know that's what he needs. So I give him what he needs, he gives me what I need. That's what compromise in a relationship is all about. That's what communication in a relationship is all about. What do you have to say about it?
As Bre said, we are completely different. I'm from the mindset, again, like we just talked about, when you don't communicate, you feel some type of way. My thing is like, I don't want to feel that type of way. And if I feel some type of way, it's going to bother me. And I'm going to probably act some type of way, which is not good. So anytime I have an issue, I want to address it and talk about it immediately. Or I won't talk to her. I'll go and think about it.
He'll go
I'll go on a walk. I'll think about it. And then I'll come back to her and be like, yo, this is what's on my mind. This is how I feel. This is what I've been thinking about, because I don't like to leave things lingering on. And then with me, I don't like to finish the conversation until we got a solution figured out.
That means 3 hours.
However long it takes. However long it takes till we got an agreement and we agree on something and we're okay with where it's at, I'm okay with where it's at, then I want to continue to talk and figure this out. Because I feel like we're both on the same team, you know what I'm saying? Her being unhappy is ultimately us being unhappy. Me being unhappy is ultimately us being unhappy. And when it comes to communicating, I need to hear your perspective. One of the most important things about communication is understanding that you don't know it all. Once you understand that, then you can have healthy and effective communication, because if you feel like you know everything, that person's not going to be able to get through to you, and then the communication won't be effective because you'll be combative to everything that they say to you. But once you know that, hey, like, I don't know it all. If I have an issue, I come to her, she gives me her perspective, it makes me think, all right, if I was in this situation, now I can see where she's coming from. Okay, I get where she's at. Even if I don't agree with where she's at, it's like, oh, okay, I get the reaction. I get why she said what she did. I get why she did what she did, because I can see where she's coming from. So I like to address things head on all the time, you know, and then very calmly as well. I like to address things in a calm way, which honestly makes her upset.
I was just gonna say, for people that have been in unfunctionable relationships, or like, I think, so Dre is so, like, everyone always asks me, like, where did you find him? Does he have brothers? Like, where did he come from? Because he is not the average guy. But if you think about it, he came from, the only real relationship with a woman that he had was with his mom, before the one girlfriend who only lasted, how many months?
3 to 5, something like that.
Oh, it was 3 to 5?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm proud of you. Thought it was like, just like.
Then I had a girlfriend in high school, but I wasn't.
So the relationships weren't long enough or serious enough for him to like be put into a pattern. So for me, it's like I had a lot of dysfunctional relationships. I was in constant patterns of the same BS, so I only knew how to resolve problems one specific way. If every guy I was with addressed the problem by yelling at me, being physical with me, like just acting a hot mess, that's what I picture as resolving a problem. That's what I think of when I think of having a disagreement or arguing or not getting along with your spouse. So when he has a relationship with his mom to where they communicate about everything, anytime as a child he had a problem, she would let him voice his opinion and they would talk about it, and she would explain why he's not getting whatever he wants, or you know, just a healthy relationship. He never got into a pattern of having anything different. So with me, he's like a clean slate, and he's just like, this is how you do it. Whereas I'm like, why are you so calm? You must not care. If you really, like, you don't act like you care. It's like, that's not the tone of someone who cares, being all calm and stuff. So now, if he were to come to me with a temper or a loud voice, I'd be like, who are you talking to? Because now I'm used to the pattern of us. I'm used to, we don't talk to each other that way. So I think it's important to understand, if you've been through bad relationships, you have to communicate that with the person you're with and let them know, like, hey, I'm not used to this healthy relationship thing. I'm not used to communicating, so it's gonna take me some time to get used to it. Because before, when we would have arguments or disagreements, I would get loud, right? You would have to tell me, like, calm down. I would, like, it was a point where he didn't even do anything to me, and I like ran out the house, slammed the door, got in my car, and was like, what did you just do that for?
Like, this is how how it would go. Is I'd be like, babe, like, I got just something on my mind that's really been bothering me. You know, I love you, and we're ultimately on the same team, and I wouldn't bring it to you if it wasn't something that I felt was important, or something that we should really talk about. So this is how I'm feeling about this. Then she'll start getting her feelings, and I'll be like, why are you yelling? Like, just calm down. Like, we're having a conversation.
Like, I'm not yelling.
I'm like, we're having a conversation, and like that would even make her more angry, because I'd be like, it's no reason to
I used to tell him that I feel like I'm talking to a therapist. Like, I was like, I feel like I have a problem, and I'm at an appointment, and you're my therapist. Why are you so calm? Because it was weird to me. But yeah, that's important. Okay, let's get back to these questions. Nonverbal communication. I am the queen of that.
Ooh, you wanna go, or you want?
Okay. So, I think nonverbal communication, like, especially in a negative way, it's the worst thing that you could do, because that's the thing that builds the tension and makes it more of a problem than it really needs to be. So catching an attitude, rolling the eyes, like you know, like walking past and nudging, or just slamming things. It's just like, it's kind of like making a fool of yourself, like acting like a child. And I used to do it all the time, and I thought it was perfectly fine. So this is a new thing that I'm like, that's not cool. Let me just go in here and talk about whatever. But you have to know the other person and what their nonverbal communication is. Like, if I'm upset, I slam stuff for no reason. Like, none.
She's getting better at that.
Yeah, I've been doing very good. But if I'm upset, I will slam in a heartbeat. That was my thing. So if he heard a door slam a little too hard, he knows I'm mad. If I'm very distant, like not like loving all up on him, that's another way for him to know that I'm upset, because I'm always up on him. So knowing that other person and what nonverbal gestures mean what is super important. Now, it's hard with Dre, because if he's mad about something, or if he doesn't like something I'm doing, he still treats me like a complete gentleman. He treats me like a lady. Not a gentleman. He treats me like a lady, so I still will open my doors. He still will walk me to the door. He'll do everything that he's supposed to normally do, which normally you would think like, oh, he's not mad. Like, it was a time where I was like, I think he's mad at me. I think I did something. But then his mannerisms from like the whole day said otherwise. And I was real confused. I was like, I think he's mad, but he's still being very nice. And then I found out that that's just his nonverbal for him isn't going to change with how I treat you. Like, your door is still going to be open. I'm still going to be a gentleman. I'm not going to go out of my way to like be rude or disrespectful. But his nonverbal is that he's just very quiet. Like, he's already a quiet person But when he's quiet, like awkwardly quiet, I know something is wrong. So his nonverbal is really just nothing at all. But I know when I see it that something is wrong. That's funny.
She was right. I mean, that's how I would never, just because I'm upset about something you did, you still my girl, still my queen. Like, I'm not going to treat you.
I'll leave that
like,
door in a heartbeat. Get your own door.
Like, that's the one thing right there, especially for men. Like, if that's your girl, I don't care how upset you get at her. She's still, like I say, your queen, man. You don't treat her any different. You don't treat her with disrespect or anything like that just because you're upset or you have a disagreement. That's not okay at all. But I feel like nonverbal communication is probably the most important communication when it comes to your relationships, because it's not even what is the most famous line in all relationships when people are arguing? What is it?
I don't know.
I cannot read minds.
No.
Because a lot of times people will be trying to give you nonverbal cues about something, but not actually say it. And then the argument comes, I've been been showing you, or I've been hinting at, and then it comes, well, I'm not a mind reader. Why didn't you just
say something?
Say something. But nonverbal communication is so crucial, because it's not only just your mannerisms, it's the tone of how you say something. Because
it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
That can get you in, because I'm a big person when it comes to that.
I was just gonna say.
I'm a big person when it comes to that. When it comes to the tone that you add stuff in, or the tone that you say stuff in, because that says a lot. Because especially when she told you how she have an attitude, like when you get angry and you have like attitude, you say stuff, but you say it in a real sarcastic way. And then the way that everybody knows how this goes. The people who get attitudes, they say something in a sarcastic way, and then they be like, "What? I said thank you." And they be like, "Nah, it's the way you said thank you. Don't act like you just said a regular, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much." No, you said that joint like sarcastic as I don't know what. So it's like those nonverbal cues, even like the tone of how you say it, the face that you make when you're saying things, just be very conscious of that, and the cues that you're showing and displaying to the person that you're with.
Yeah, because if you pay attention to the person you're with, you're going to see the nonverbal communication. So it's important. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about is playing the victim. Yes, it is. The other one says, remember you're on the same team. It's all correlated. So playing the victim, remembering you're on the team of the other person.
That's the thing. With communication, you both are on the same team.
It took me a while to figure that out.
I
always felt like a conversation was like me against him. And that's why I always used to get so angry. Because I would be like, I am not this person that you're saying I am. I did not do that. It's like, at the end of the day, we're on the same team. We're only having conversations so that we can move on and be better. But I also think it's different. It's easier to argue with somebody that you know you're going to be with for the rest of your life. Because when you're just dealing with a dude and you know that you was already contemplating like if you really, really liked him or not, or if this is really going anywhere, we get real petty in our arguments. So it's like, I stopped because I was like, he ain't going nowhere. This is the person I'm gonna marry. I have to be with him forever. So this whole like me want to have an attitude and just doing things my way doesn't really make sense, because he's gonna do it the same way every time. So I might as well just get on board with it, because my way doesn't work. So, and now that we do his way, it works. It works great. I am a testament of it. So.
No, I mean, that playing the victim stuff is legit. And real, and I feel like it happens. I mean, it's natural, right? Somebody comes at you, and not only that, they're pointing out your flaws a lot of times. Mm-hmm. It's like, these are the issues. These are the things you need to work on.
We don't
These
hear
are the things that, and as soon as you hear that, you get defensive. Like what do you mean I need to do this, or what do you mean, like, I need that, or I'm like this. No, the only reason that I'm like this is because you blah, 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 and you do this and you do that. And it's like, hold on. Like, especially if you're in a real committed relationship, you know that person loves you. It's like, I'm not going to bring anything to the table just to hurt your feelings or make anything, or just say it just to say it. It's like, if I'm saying this, it's probably something that I observed, I waited for a while, and I'm bringing it to your attention. And the best thing to do, and it's difficult in those situations, you always, especially if you're bringing something to somebody and they kind of prove you wrong as to why they were doing whatever they were doing, you get defensive. You don't want to feel like you were wrong, or you brought this up for no reason, or you're the problem, so you start to try to defend yourself and play the victim a lot of times. But it's just important to
What?
Nothing. No, it's just important to, like I said before in the beginning of the video, just knowing that you don't know it all. And it's possible that, as everybody knows, you're not perfect. Like, that person there is there to elevate you. That person there is there to support you. And that person is ultimately there, if they're the right person, to hold you accountable for the things that you should be doing and the things that you should not be doing. So a lot of times it's a guilty conscience that has you upset.
That's what I was gonna say. I know I get the most mad when I do something or don't do something that I know I needed to do or not should have done. Does that make sense? So then if he brings it up before I get to address it in myself, like if I'm like, dang man, like this has to change, or like I need to be doing this or whatever, I already feel bad because I realized it. So I'm like, ugh, I need to do this thing. So when he brings it to my attention, like out of bad habit, I will get, what is the word? Defensive, because I'm really mad at myself. I'm not mad at him. And this is something I've already addressed that I needed to fix, or, you know, whatever. So then it's like in the midst of me being upset, I'll be like, why am I mad when I just told myself this something, you know, when I could have easily just been like, you're right, I just was thinking that. But I'm like there now.
Yeah, I mean, we always have those moments. It's like, you know when you're being petty and bringing up something just to get a reaction. But then, like, I'll tell her sometimes, it's like, honestly, I know your feelings may have been hurt, but I was just saying the truth at that point. Like, this is...
The truth hurts.
Like, it may be something like, oh, this is what you said you wanted to do, and maybe I said something about her not doing it, but then she'll get upset at me. But it's like, hold on, this is not attacking you. This is what you said you wanted to do. Like, I'm just trying to hold you accountable for that. But then it's like a natural reaction, right, to like want to like be defensive, because you know in yourself, and it happens with me too. If she says something, like, you know in yourself, like every time she be like, Dre, can you take the trash out? Like, I know that's my responsibility. I see the trash piling up. Like, it gets, like, it makes me mad sometimes. Like, no, don't tell me to take the trash. I'm going to take the trash out. Like, but it's like, it's only because I know, like, I'm supposed to be doing that. And if it gets to the point to where it's like, yo, I need to ask you, like, you need to do this, then it's like, you already know you've been dropping a ball already, you know what I'm saying? And then you get upset.
Speaking of which,
I just took the trash out.
I know.
was about to say, don't do that. But yeah, you get like real defensive, and it's natural, but you gotta do your best to monitor that.
And this is why, going back to episode numero uno, being single and in your singleness is the most important time, because you have to get to know yourself and look at the damage that all your other exes and people in your past have created, so that when you meet the love of your, stop yawning, the love of your life, you can act accordingly, because you know what you needed to fix and it's already fixed. So then when you come to the table, you're a whole person, ready to communicate, ready for healthy love and things of such. So I think that's it, right? Did you have anything else you want to say?
Oh, the biggest, how do we forget this?
What?
Biggest part of communicating, oh my gosh, is listening.
Ooh.
How can you communicate without listening? So many people sitting there preparing answers without even taking in what the person says. because they so fixed on what their point is or what their thought is. And I'm saying this too for people who are dating. It's like, listen to what the person is saying to you. If we have so many people in relationships that look past stuff. Like, you'll sit there and talk about, or they just choose not to talk about things because they kind of know how the person may feel about it. So they just like, all right, I'm just not going to talk about this and just ignore it. But then it's going to end up coming up at some point. So it's just like, you have to, the biggest part of communicating is listening. It's listening. Because you can't effectively communicate if you don't really know what the person is saying.
Amen, hallelujah.
And
I'm also a victim of that. Yes, I mean, I listen, but like, I don't know. I got a lot of clouds up here. I don't know where they came from, but sometimes I'm listening and then I'm just like, and I have to come back like, yeah?
No, it's not like, yeah. It's like, I'll explain something that makes perfect sense. And she's like, what are you talking about? I don't get it. I'm like, let me try it again.
It's the clouds. However, it's something that makes me me, so you love it.
She's doing better with listening. I make her put all her stuff away if I have something serious to talk to her about.
Yeah, you do.
There's this thing, right? I'm gonna share this last thing with you. I was at this church service, and this guy, he put a passage or a poem on the big screen, and then he played another one over the intercom. And basically, he was like, all right, do your best to try to memorize both things. So it was like, he played it, and then he was like, all right, anybody who can stand up here and either read or say one of the lines. No, he said 4 of the lines from the poem that you heard or read. Step up. Nobody raised their hand. He was like, 2 lines. He was like, 1 line. Nobody. Because you can't be multitasking. You can't, it's impossible to do 2 things at one time.
He's right.
So when it comes to listening, especially if you're in a relationship, you owe that person a respect, especially if it's something serious. There's one thing my mom did tell me when I was little, is that when I was little, she knew, because you see kids, you get mad over anything when you're little. But she said even though she knew it wasn't a big deal, it was a big deal to me, and it was real to me. So you have to understand in your relationships that even if you think something is not that big of a deal or the time is not now to talk about it, it's like if it's a big deal to them, it doesn't matter if it's not a big deal to you.
Yeah,
so you need
it's just like when I straighten my hair and Dre never told me that my hair looked nice.
You need to put your stuff away, like if you have your phone, and give that person your full attention because it's actually a big deal to them.
And give that person compliments when you know they want them.
Why do you have to joke on a serious part?
Because, no, it's serious. It's very serious. It's like if you just left and went and got a haircut and come home and I was just like, oh, look at you, looking how you looking. Like,
it's the same haircut.
So it's still nice to have a compliment. I asked him if he liked my hair and he said, it's fine.
That's not what I said.
That is what you said. That's exactly what you said. I said,
No,
so do you like it? Because people don't just say it's fine to things that they like.
She said, oh, I feel like you like she was like, do you like my curly hair over my straight hair? And I was like, it's fine.
What does that mean?
That means that either way is fine to me. You want fried chicken or baked chicken? No,
but that was it wasn't nonverbal because it was verbal. That was verbal communication of me letting you know that like, hey, I was looking for a compliment over here. I was slaving in the bathroom with that straightener, burnt my hand a couple times, but it's all good.
Obviously, she's salty about that.
No, I'm not. I'm over it now that I just made it public. So, we hope you guys enjoyed. Communication is always key. We have a lot of really cool things coming up that we'll be sharing with you soon. So make sure that you follow us on social media at Brianna Ponte, at It's Dre Smith, at Worth the Waits, and then our business page at All About It. Don't forget that you guys can get your free consultation to learn how to build your brand, your business, your
social
empire,
media,
your platform, all of that good stuff.
Spit.
What? Did I spit?
Yes.
Sorry. Did I really?
Yes.
Sorry. Act like that never happened. And get your free call today. If you go to any of those pages, you can click in the link in our bio and it will have an option to book a consultation. So talk with me. Let's get that following booming. And other than that, make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon next Wednesday.
All right.
And share.